Now they have the audacity to ask why we're not buying houses at 25. You burned the bridge and sold tolls to cross the river. Frank.
Shout out to Frank. You fucking
Not
suck.
Frank. Hi, and welcome back to the Dysfunctional Duo. How's our week been, guys? I was going to say chat.
Hi, chat.
Hi, chat. Do you know that, like, people, like, the younger generation, they've started addressing groups via chat?
Yeah, I'm
like,
not
just
surprised.
in, like, live action. They'll literally be like, hey, chat, what do you think? And they'll be talking to, like, a group of 10 people.
That's funny. I
kind
actually
of
think
fucking
that's
love
super
that.
funny. Put F in chat. I should just, like, hold up an F.
Put F in chat.
Put F in chat.
GG's, like, all
GG.
that shit. Yeah.
Love you, chat.
Yeah.
Tell me your opinion, chat.
Yeah, I love it. It's amazing.
I like that, like, internet world and real world are starting to merge together.
It's-
I'm sure a lot of people hate that. I like it.
The boomers probably hate it.
Fuck the boomers.
Fuck the boomers.
Fuck
no, I
them.
love my grandparents are boomers and I love my grandparents. But, like, honestly, though, kind of fuck the boomers.
No, but for real, ChatGPT has a lot of fuck the boomer energy.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we get into that, I only have one hyperfixation of the week today.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay. What is it?
Or hyperfixation of the week today sounds weird.
That
That doesn't sound like a sentence.
I don't know. I graduated with an English degree, so what do I know?
You should know.
I don't know anything.
I'm illiterate,
I'm
so it's too
delusional.
late. Great. Amazing. Isn't that how you get your degree? Is just straight delusion?
I don't know, but I met a nice lady at a car garage because I was getting my oil change, and she was like, because you have a degree.
Sorry, I have to pause your story.
Yeah.
A car garage? Like it's the fucking 30s and you're in a car garage?
Well,
or
no,
like you were in a Mr. Lube?
No, I wasn't in a Mr. Lube. It was called Wrenches something. I don't know.
It was called Wrenches?
Yeah. It was fun. I don't know. It was like I was in the office and there's the front desk lady who was super nice, and then this older lady who was getting her car fixed, and she was also super nice. And we just sat there and chatted while the men did all the work.
Was her name Doris?
I actually have no idea what her name was. I could have asked it. I just didn't because I'm a millennial. I don't care about other people.
Yeah, at this point you socialize for 20 minutes, best friends, and then you never see them again. And that's like actually okay?
No, okay. She actually made that comment of just like, kids these days don't know how to talk in real time. And
yeah,
I'm just
because it's fucking terrifying. Like, we had somebody come to our door like 3 days ago. Now, this is an interesting story because we got like a package delivered to our door. It was like a Home Depot box, like a big Home Depot box. No label of like who, like our names weren't on it. It just had our address and like a barcode you could scan. It didn't have a return to sender address.
Were you like expecting this package, or was
No.
it like surprise?
No, yeah, we didn't know what was in it.
There's a stripper inside.
And so we were like, okay, fuck, like we should open this. But it looked like it had been like MacGyvered together. Like it didn't look like Home Depot sent us this box.
What the
It looked like
fuck?
somebody took a Home Depot box, put shit in it, and mailed it to our house.
Like a mystery box.
So I'm immediately thinking like, there's a bomb on my front porch.
That's crazy.
Somebody has intent to kill.
Oh my god. You know what? Fair enough for taking it to like 0 to 100.
So I call my mom because if you're not in a life or death contemplative situation, are you not calling your mom? So I call my mom and I'm like, hey, so like we opened it because I was like, we should probably open it and see. Let's not dig around in it in case there's like needles or something and we get like jabbed, but we should open it. So we opened it. There was like 4 backpacks, a few wigs. It smelled like fucking, like it reeked of like baby oil, baby powder, perfume.
What the fuck? Did Diddy send you this?
I don't know. It was very
Alleged.
concerning. So I was like, oh, we didn't order this. There might be shit in here. From my social worker days, I was like, I've been through boxes like this before and there's been some kind of scary stuff in here. So like, let's not keep digging.
Bed bugs even?
Anything. And so we were like, okay, what the hell do we do with this? And so I was like, let's call Canada Post and like see if they can look up this number. They did. And they were like, it's from Manitoba. And I'm like,
What?
oh, I don't know anybody from Manitoba that would send this to me other than my cousin, who the only thing I'm expecting from her is maybe a wedding invitation.
Oh my, if it's her, I'm emailing her.
It wasn't because I was like
DMing her,
I was like,
'cause
have
that's
you
so
mailed
funny.
anything to me? And she's like, no. So I
Why
was
would
like, okay, cool.
Backpacks and a wig though?
Yeah. So we gave it back to Canada Post and we were like, take this.
Yeah.
We don't want it. It's not for us. And so they took it. I don't know what happened to it. We got a mail slip in like on our door maybe like a week later saying that there was another package for us. And I was like, this is definitely from Manitoba as well, because neither of us have ordered anything.
Okay.
And so we didn't even bother to pick that one up. We just left it at the fucking postal office.
I would have gone immediately.
And we were like, okay, mystery of the random box, like, sick, don't know where this came from, whatever. Like 2 days ago, somebody's knocking on our door. Nobody knocks on our door anymore. So
knocking on a door is diabolical.
Immediately, I turned to my husband. I'm like, who's at the door? And he's like, if they have a clipboard, don't open. And I was like, they don't have a clipboard. And I'm like, looking at this person through my Ring camera. That's when you know you're millennial. You don't even bother to go to a window anymore because they might see you.
Yeah, they'll know you're home.
Through the camera. Yeah. So they knock again, and then they ring the doorbell. So like now they want to get our attention.
They're getting in.
So I open the door, and it's this girl, and she's like, hey, there was these 2 boxes mailed to your guys' house, and I don't know where they are. And I was like, oh, you're the person.
Did she live here before you?
No, she had just moved here from Manitoba.
To this house? Where is she?
She's our address, but with 2 additional digits.
Oh,
so they just fucked up our address. Yeah. So, like, I don't know, the person that like was getting her boxes delivered, they just didn't bother to put like the 2 digits on the last 2 boxes that she mailed over here. I don't know. But she was like, we're looking for it. And I called the post office. They say they don't have it. And I was like, well, we don't have it. Like, we delivered your other box back. And we didn't even bother picking up your second box. And I was like, sorry. And she was like, okay. And I'm like, if we get boxes here, like, I'll bring them to you. Like, you obviously don't live far from me, but like, I don't got any of your shit here. And then we finished the conversation. She left. And I was like, you know, you're a millennial when you have to like have a conversation at your door. And it's like the most, if you don't text me telling me you're here, you're the exception to the rule. But kind of like even my parents, they have to kind of tell me that they're here for me to be okay opening the door to like, and they're not strangers, but everyone's a stranger at my door. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's such a like new generation thing, whereas like the boomers will like open, they don't even lock their door anymore. Guys, why are we not locking our door? In this climate, in this societal climate, I'm locking my door.
I'm bolting my door.
Yeah, what if...
Are you kidding me? I have a chair against the like handle.
God forbid somebody just like decides, and it's always a man. It would never be a woman. It might be a woman. No, it would be a man.
Less likely to be a woman.
God forbid a man just decides he's just going to walk into my house. Just because he wants to. Like, fucking
I mean, that's
absolutely not. That is crazy, but I can guarantee you it's happened. If I look up news right now, I can guarantee you that's happened to somebody.
It's probably not even on the news. They're probably just like, yeah, this old man just wanted to walk in.
I feel like it's a tactic that like men who like go out with intent to harm, they'll just walk into a house. Or if they have an eye on a house, like there's like, it's like the same shit as like they'll play like a baby crying outside your house at night, and women feel this instinctual need to go and like check if there's a baby on their patio or whatever, and when they go out they get attacked.
That's why we have Ring cameras. If it's not within the vicinity of a Ring camera, it's not my business.
I can probably guarantee that there was some involvement from a woman at some point in the build of that, if it was not in fact invented by a woman.
I was invented not only by a woman but by a mother who's like, I need to know when you're leaving the house and when you're coming back in. I know you're leaving. I need to know when. I need to know that you're coming home.
A mother? Yeah.
A mother.
Yeah.
For sure. Or she's like, why the fuck are you ordering like skip the dishes at 3 a.m.? Like, go do your homework. Go to bed.
I could never do that shit. But I didn't come from a generation where I just had, like, the money to DoorDash every single fucking day. Ain't no way.
I don't understand how people could do it every day. Like, I know the owners...
My husband teeters.
Really?
Yeah.
Every day?
No, not every day, but...
What is he ordering?
Enough.
Is it like groceries, or is it like
no?
Just
we've never DoorDashed. Actually, we've DoorDashed groceries like we got from like 7-Eleven or something, like maybe Pop and shit like that. But we don't DoorDash our groceries, but we do order food. Like he very often will sit down and park for the evening and be like, "There's no way I'm cooking, and there's no way I'm going out, so I'm just gonna DoorDash." And he does it like, let's say it's like 3 to 4 times a week on average. Maybe no, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, maybe like 2 to 3.
I mean, okay,
I don't DoorDash often, but he also will DoorDash, and then he'll get me like something, so I get like secondary food.
I'm always kind of like, I kind of get it in this climate, in this day and age. If you don't have to cook, quite literally you don't have to.
Oh, I love cooking.
I know, but like for Leo's sake, like if he's just like in that mood of just like, no, not today. I work full time.
Valid.
I do all this stuff. Like that's just one thing that I just don't want to do.
Well,
I get it.
We're in this phase of our life now where I feel like when we were teenagers, it didn't really, you would hear people say it, but it didn't really register. And that is money versus time. Like, are you willing to spend money or are you willing to spend time?
Yeah, very much that.
It's truly one or the other. And if you don't have to spend either, then you've got a fucking deal. And that's when you hear people rave about like, I don't know, whatever. Like, oh, this campsite was free. And it's like, great. Now you enjoy your time and it was free. Like, that's why you hear people rave about stuff like that, or when they get stuff on discount, or especially like, that's why you get excited about like a good vacuum. Cause you're like, this is going to save me time.
Totally.
But it costs more money.
It does. And I get where especially like Leo's coming from. I could never, but I can't afford it. Personally, like I straight up just can't afford to like skip the dishes like once a week. Even like that's like a luxury for me, my finances now. But if I had more money, I'd probably do it more often. To be just so for real with you.
I'm sure that like it for a lot of people it's like a normal thing. I actually enjoy cooking, and I'm in like a health journey right now, so I can't eat out as often because I just have to be more more
mindful,
conservative of my like calories and my macros and stuff, so it's easier for me to cook at home. And I've gotten to a place where I actually enjoy the food that I'm cooking, and like I bake and shit, so I just feel like homemade food is easier than eating out. And eating out for me, it invites like, it's like online shopping. You see something online and it looks really cool, and it's not as cool as when you get it in person, but the experience of like ordering something becomes like addictive.
Yeah, that like waiting for it, anticipation of just and like it's almost here.
And like I'm not gonna order the good looking like healthy shit on DoorDash. I'm obviously gonna order McDonald's and like the junk food.
You're not gonna go on Skip the Dishes and be like, I want a salad today. Fuck off. If you're to pay for delivery,
if you're looking at the photos, you're for sure looking at the burgers and the fries.
You want the juicy stuff.
If I don't see it, it doesn't impact me. It's same with online shopping. I like try to limit as much as I try not to go on Amazon consistently because, and I have like a list to put things, like if I see things, TikTok is kind of like an instigator in that way, where I'll see people promote shit and I'll be like, this looks really interesting. And before I buy it now, I put it in a list and I let it sit in the list for like minimum like 2 months, max like 5, if it's not as like, I need this now. And then I go back, and if I still feel like I want it, then I buy it. Because I like have an issue with online shopping, as many women do. Like I feel like there was a point there where I was online shopping so often that I was like, I just needed the fix of ordering something. And I was like, this is not good for me. Oh my God,
TLC. Sarah has an addiction.
TLC, I swear to God, it has to be like one of the number one addictions for like women.
Is shopping.
Online shopping.
Specifically.
Yeah.
I get that. Especially with Amazon being so quick, it's just instant gratification. And there's always like, especially women who have like spaces that are like their own, like there's always a decor that could be put there. There's always a way to like
more makeup, like more makeup
or
like
organizers. Clothes is a big one.
Yeah, like I definitely feel like I'm trying to follow that trend this year. And I don't even think I would consider it a trend. I think I'm actually trying to genuinely make it a lifestyle, of this idea of like, if you don't need it, don't buy it.
Period.
Because I already have the things that I want. Like everything that I have, I'm like I could go on living my life with the things I currently have and be absolutely, completely fine. And if it's something that I need, then I'll buy it. But it has to be something I have to like think logically about. Like, okay, I need, like we bought recently like the Ninja Creamy, and it was kind of a want, but it's like it was a need. Because it's changed the game for like sweet treats and eating, again, like within my macros and eating relatively clean, because I can make my own ice cream with my own like calorie count. I know everything that's going into it.
Yeah.
So it changed the game, and I was cool investing that money. Whereas, I don't know, like additional shit. It's like, oh, do I get the cozy for my ice cream container so it doesn't melt as much? Well, let's like live without it for a little bit and see how we feel. So it's shit like that where I try to be a little bit more conservative and just smarter. And like my makeup, I feel like I've reduced the size of the inventory of makeup that I had fucking 4 years ago versus now. Like I have a tiny little makeup bag with all my makeup in it now. Whereas like years ago I had a huge like cart with like multiple eyeshadow palettes that I hardly used, many different mascaras, many different foundations, concealers, and like I didn't use all of them. And I recently had like a relatively large inventory and I went through all of it. And I was like, I'm not buying shit until I hit pan on all of this stuff.
I need to start doing that too. I used to be really bad, especially for makeup, where like I'd buy something, I'd use it maybe once, and then like the excitedness would just wear off, and I'd be like, I don't even fucking like these. I have hazel eyes, and I bought blue eyeshadow. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah. Like, for real, what the fuck are you doing? You look stupid. You look like a hooker.
You're so mean to yourself.
I'm allowed to be mean to me. I have to slip myself.
You're absolutely fucking not allowed to be mean to you.
No, I'm allowed.
No, you're not allowed.
I gave myself permission to be mean.
You don't get to give yourself permission because you being mean to you is the worst that you could do to yourself. Why do you want to hurt yourself?
Oh my God.
Somebody else being mean to you is not as equally equivalent to the power that you have being mean to you. Be nice to yourself.
No, I feel like if I be mean to me, then it doesn't hurt when other people be mean to me.
It hurts me.
Who cares about your feelings?
I'm the Spencer translator. We already know this shit. Be nice to my fucking friend.
Okay, sorry. Spencer, you're alright. You could work on a few things, but you're alright.
Okay, I mean, we're growing. It's fine. It's a work in progress. In a perfect world, you'd be nicer to yourself, but we're not in a perfect world, so.
Self-love is essentially the epitome of unconditional love. Nobody talks about that.
Self-pity?
What did I just say?
I genuinely wasn't listening. I'm going to be honest with you.
Love.
I checked out
like 4 minutes
the first 10 seconds.
Okay.
And then I was hoping by the end of it, I would be able to understand what you had said at the beginning of the sentence for me to understand what the last part of the sentence meant. Like most of the conversations I have with people.
You're filling in the blanks.
Yeah.
You just need the first couple like letters of each word.
Could not fill in the blanks with that one. I think you said self-pity is the equivalent of unconditional love to yourself.
I actually don't know what I said. So ignore everything I've ever said my entire life. I'm delusional. I'm stupid. Just ignore me. But I'm beautiful and I'm kind. Wow. And I deserve
Great
love.
Catch. Great catch on that. I was about to shit on you again. Yes. This is a great way to transition into maybe it's not all our fucking fault.
Maybe not.
Wait, I forgot to tell you what my hyperfixation of the week was.
Have we done this whole talk and not talked about that? That's so embarrassing.
Welcome to ADHD Corner. Okay, this one's going to be very, very quick. But I was streaming and my chat was talking about some like horror-based games. And then we were talking about like movies that had like really good psychological endings, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. Enter in movie recommendation. They go, you should watch this movie called Identity. It was made, it came out like 2008, 2006.
Okay, slay.
Maybe earlier, like early 2000s, maybe mid 2000s. I watched it. It was actually a pretty good movie. It was made in the kind of era of like when every scary movie was kind of like a Rob Zombie music video.
Yes. I miss those days.
Me kind of too, like 13 Ghosts.
Oh my God, nobody talks about like the older scary movies. I know. And they deserve
or
flowers.
Ghost Ship, like they all kind of had like a emo, like hard rock vibe to them.
Very like Blue Valentine.
Yeah. So anyways, I watched it and it was very good. And the lineup of cast was very interesting, but one person that was in there and I was like, oh, I haven't seen you in a while was John Cusack. He's like one of the leads in this.
Who?
You know who John Cusack is.
I know who he is. I'm so bad with like names and faces. I would know who
he's in Say Anything. He was the voice of Dimitri in Anastasia.
Beverly Hills.
Anastasia.
What's his name? Justice?
John Cusack.
Q? Like Q?
Your mom probably had many movies of him.
Oh, Cusack. How do you spell that? That's not a word.
C-U-S-C?
Okay.
Cusack.
Got it. Sorry, everybody. Oh, know who he is immediately.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So he was in this movie. Now, he must have been mid-40s in this movie.
Okay.
Maybe early 40s. And I was watching him and like was immediately kind of like falling in love. And I was like, fuck, like what is it about John Cusack? And then I kind of went down this like rabbit hole of his older movies. So I watched like 1408, where he's also in that.
I don't know.
That's like a Stephen King story where he goes into a hotel room.
Okay.
Yeah. He was too young and Say Anything. I watched it and it didn't give me the same butterflies. But he had like a handful of movies that he was in in like early 2000s. And what is like, is there a John Cusack effect, just like Brendan Fraser effect when he was in like The Mummy and Tarzan, where women were just like, can we please talk about young Brendan Fraser? I was watching John Cusack's movies and I was like, can we talk about John Cusack? Like there's moments where he's like, he whispers to women, and not like like fuck, there was another one. It was a romantic movie that I watched, and it was with him and the actress from Underworld.
What's her name?
Kate Blanchett? No, Kate
Beckinsale.
Kate Beckinsale. Yes. And again, like, just what is there a John Cusack effect that I'm just late to the party on? Because holy hell. Then I realized that he was the voice of Dimitri in Anastasia, which was one of my favorite movies growing up as a little girl. And then I would watch it when I was older, and I was like, Dimitri's got like high-key, low-key, really sexy voice. It's fucking John Cusack.
You know what it is he potentially is like written for like the feminine gaze. I don't think people understand.
100%. And I think he was written for the feminine gaze when only like 10 men in Hollywood were written for the female gaze.
Yes.
He gives me the same vibes as like
Horrible Bosses.
I want to say Jason Statham, but that is absolutely not the actor. Jason Bateman.
Thank you. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
It's the same thing. They have the same, they're in the same box.
Yeah. And maybe it's like the ugly hot. Maybe.
But I wouldn't consider them, but yeah, like they're mid. That's awful to say.
No.
They're not mid. Oh my God, I felt so bad saying that. I have to take that back.
That's the thing, is like they're built for the female gaze. So like women don't care so much about like external attractiveness.
No, we do. We just like
if you're a brick, you're a brick. But
you're a brick. That's literally it. That's all you've got going for you.
Whereas like,
which is fine.
There's certain men that
I don't mind staring at architecture. But then I have to go home.
Yeah, exactly. You have to stay here and like hold up that building.
Yeah, I'm cool sightseeing and seeing these beautiful buildings. But then I don't want to live in them.
They're just it's a brick at the end of the day.
It's a brick.
What am I gonna do with the brick?
Yeah.
Like throw it?
Yeah.
Through a window?
But you're right.
Steal shit?
You're right. There is that kind of female gaze.
For sure. Like Channing Tatum's not female gaze. Sorry, he's not female
anymore.
gaze.
Not anymore. In She's the Man, though.
Oh, I mean, in She's the Man,
he was so many girls' a sexual awakening. So many. I mean, if you were not already sexually awakened when you watched She's the Man, you were after that movie.
Oh, for sure.
Anyways, John Cusack, ladies, if we're sleeping on John Cusack, watch his movies. But like his older, like I don't think I've seen him in anything new as of late, and I'm sure he's kind of retired and very happy with his old life now, like as an old man. But yeah. He's kind of giving Brendan Fraser in terms of the charisma that he had in the early 2000s. And I think I went down a rabbit hole of John Cusack movies.
He was your
this week.
hyperfixation.
I was just watching him while I was working, and it was just like on in the background, because the movies like he was in, like some of them are good, but some of them are just like okay, like plot wise, the story was just okay. But when he was on screen, eyes all on. Oh yeah, you're like, forget everything that I'm doing. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, and the way he whispers, like he has this like low voice. I don't know. I was just 10 out of 10. That was my hyperfixation of the week. I love that for you. Yeah, me too. Okay. It was great. Anyways. I wasn't expecting it to be like a whole ass man. I was expecting it to be like a whole ass man. Like a TikTok trend or something. Yeah, call it the Libra in me. I fall in love hard and fast and then immediately disappears about 2 weeks later. God knows how I'm married. Okay, so what we're talking about this episode was just honestly a very interesting video that I saw on social media that I sent to Spencer immediately. And it was this idea that like for our millennials, I feel like there's this kind of concept that like we're obviously, it's not even like we're entering into adulthood now. Now we're in it. And it's like what we were promised or told to expect is absolutely the fuck not what's happening. And even like the best of us, like I would say like I fall into a category where I got really lucky. You know, we own a house. I have like a counterpart. Like I'm not dating at an older age. Like I feel like there's just kind of like things just, and I'm not saying I'm lucky. I'm saying like there's different sides of being a millennial in this space. And it seems like, at least for a woman, I don't want to speak on the male counterpart of it because I actually don't know what guys are experiencing, or even if the guys really fucking care. Like maybe they're just like good living their life. Like I don't know. But what I will say is as a woman, I see so many different shades of being a woman as a millennial in this world that have changed because the grand scheme of things have changed. There was this person I saw it on Instagram. I would highly assume that it's also on TikTok, but it was this girl who put on ChatGPT, can you explain to me the difference of what boomers' life was like at our age and our life, and like, don't hold shit back. And ChatGPT said, hold my fucking beer. And so in this video, it was so interesting because like ChatGPT not only exposed a shit ton of stuff that I think validates everybody else's experience, but in my head, it explained so much. Like, just in general of, oh, this is why we question the things that we do, and why can't we be
friends?
Why can't we be where our grandparents were at our age? Like, why is everything so fucking hard right now? I just gotta say, ChatGPT is really becoming like that number one bitch, you know?
She popped off.
Yeah.
She went, like, she held no words back. Like, you could feel the anger from AI. That's how I know technology is getting serious and everybody hates the boomers. Peace and love to the boomers.
That's the thing, is like there's a new generation coming in and they're not a fan of the boomers.
No, I have some theories as to why boomers suck so bad. Oh, part of it has to do with the fact that parents and grandparents lived through two of the worst world wars in history, and then they got out into, you know, the baby boom, and it was a horrible economy that was still struggling, but because of it, they were able to achieve more success somehow, and then they got super, super fucking greedy with it, to the point where, like, that's all they could think about was money for generations, until it got to the point where, like, we're paying thousands of dollars for health care. The average house in Canada, I feel, is close to $1 million. For just a house.
It's like 700,000.
That's pretty close to $1 million. Like, that's a lot of fucking
like, if you're
money.
talking a detached single family home with like 4 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, yeah, you're looking at like 700,000.
Right? For houses that were originally bought in like 1980 for a handful of peanuts and a left shoe. Mm-hmm. Like, you're joking me.
My dad and my birth mom, when they were still in a relationship with each other, they moved from Toronto to Alberta, to a small town. So yeah, put that in perspective as well. It was a very small town. But my mom and my dad, my mom wasn't working because she had a child at home. I might have not been born yet. It might have just been my sister. My dad was working at a cheese factory for $16 an hour with no high school education.
$16 an hour, though, back in that day.
Actually, sorry, that might be a fucking lie. 13 maybe.
Still slay.
Average hourly, whatever that fucking was. 11, okay. Like, whatever.
It was, when I first started working, that minimum wage was $10. That was like, I don't know, more 12 years ago.
Okay, let's say on average like $15 to $10 or something like that.
Okay.
He was working as the main contributor to the house, and the rent of a single detached farm family home with like 2 or 3 bedrooms was $400 a month.
Crazy. That's probably expensive for that time.
I'm sure it was average.
Hopefully.
An entire house.
Like, how did we get from
like the size of our house that we live in now?
$2,200. Like, how did we get there? I know nothing about like economics and finances, so like, I'm delusional. Don't take anything what I like say seriously, but like, I just don't understand, like, economy. I don't understand inflation. I don't understand why things get so expensive, why they need to be so expensive, how houses got so expensive.
There's a documentary on Netflix. I can't remember what it's called. My dad was like, you need to watch this. And now I can't remember the name. I did watch it. And the theory is that in the next 20 years or whatever, fucking 50 years, the economy is going to go back to the, like, royal phase, where there is 80% to 90% people living in poverty and 10% who are living an elite lifestyle.
How did we let people get to that elite lifestyle? Like, there's still things I just don't understand. Like, what do you mean you have billions of dollars and like you can't give any of it back to, like, I'm not even saying like put it in my pocket. I'm saying like pay out student debt.
It's because we don't live in a government that does that.
I don't know. I'm convinced.
Like, if you go to Sweden, yeah, they do shit like that.
I'm convinced that, like, there's people behind the government that, like, we have no idea. Because, like, Donald Trump's slowly fading into, like, insanity.
Yeah, I mean, but do you really think that the president is the one who carries all the fucking weaponry? And it's like that concept of like the monarchy. Like back then, I remember I was in 5th grade and we had this project where we all got like certain roles in the Renaissance period where or maybe it was even like it was just like the kind of dark ages phase where like everything's medieval, and we all got a title, and based on that title we got a certain amount of income, we got a certain amount of land, we got all this kind of stuff, and then we had to make a project and like a fucking diorama of our space and our land and like how we would go about living that life.
Pause. I think I did this exact same project and I was for sure a peasant.
You were a peasant?
Uh-huh.
I was a baron.
I don't even know what the fuck
a baron was like middle class, maybe a little higher than middle class.
Oh, I was a peasant.
I think a baron is better than a knight. So,
slay.
But in the class, our teacher, so everybody wanted to be the king. Everybody wanted to pull that king card. And our teacher made a really interesting point, and he had said, you don't actually want to be the king, you want to be the priest. And the reason is because the priest was the second whisperer in the king's ear. So the person who actually led the government wasn't the fucking king. It was the priest. But the priest didn't have the face or the harassment that came with being the king, but could make all the choices. Because they were the one whispering in the king's ear going, you should probably do this, and you should probably do this, and let's make this choice instead. Because you were a trusted advisor. But you weren't the king, so nobody wanted your head. Mm-hmm. Nobody blamed you for the way that the government was the way the government was. You were the ninja in the night, but you got all the power, the money, the luxury, without any of the like dedicated responsibility.
Quick question. What's the difference between like a pope, a bishop, and a priest? Like, what are these titles and what do they mean?
I don't know. The Pope is Catholic, isn't it?
Yeah, but like for what?
But a bishop doesn't have to be a Catholic thing. I think a bishop runs across multiple different religions.
Like, what is a bishop? Like, what do you do?
I think a priest and a bishop are the same depending on the religion. They run the churches, like the actual like neighborhood churches.
Okay. And then what does a pope do?
The Pope is the Catholic like king. He runs all of it. There's one pope. There could be 100 million priests, 100 million bishops.
One pope to rule them all.
One pope to rule them all.
So why can't the pope, like, have fuck?
Because it's sinful.
For who?
You have to have chastity. You have to be pure.
Why?
Because that's what the Bible says. I don't fucking know.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just
That's why nuns can't have that. That's why nuns can't fuck. Or fucking priests. Priests, I also think, have to be... Like, I think they have to be pure.
I don't know if
they can't marry. I don't think they can marry.
I'm sure they're supposed to be.
And I think the concept is that you sacrifice your chastity to help others. It's like part of the deal.
I'm suffering. Your chastity isn't enough. Please give me money. Send it to me via PayPal. Thank you so much to every priest, bishop, and pope out there.
Why are you attacking just, like, they're not the only ones who are taking the money.
I'm not saying they're taking it. I'm saying they should give it to me.
But like, I feel like there's so much bigger fish to fry.
There's so many fish out there. Jellyfish.
And you went for the priests and the bishops?
Yeah, because I just don't understand the difference in the title. Like, what do the titles mean? If you're like, I'm a priest versus a bishop versus, I guess the pope, I guess makes sense. He's just the cool dude in the hat. We have an American pope now. All the memes are really funny because there's gonna be like a Chuck E. Cheese in the Vatican now because he's an American pope.
A bishop has the authority over something, diocese, and can ordain priests of other clergies. So in Catholic Church, the bishop is higher than a priest.
So they're playing chess.
So you have God at the top of this hierarchy.
Period.
God, Pope, cardinals.
Cardinals?
Archbishops. Bishops, priests, and people. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 titles within the Catholic Church that you can be before you become God.
Before you become God?
I don't know. God's on the hierarchy. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay. I love that you can become God.
So Pope is second to God.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of disagree with that. I would say anyone can be second to God.
Well, that's why this is a religion for the people who believe in it.
Okay, period. If you're like Catholic, Christian.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know if Christian churches are the same.
I don't know either.
Because Christianism is separated, I believe, into different religions as well.
Oh. That makes, I don't know. I went to Catholic school for like, you would think I'd know something. I know nothing.
And Christian, I think, is like you're a Christian. Like they call it Christian, but like I think you're a supporter of Christ, like of Jesus Christ.
Right. That makes sense.
When did we get here?
I don't know. I'm
what
so
happened?
sorry.
But like that's like one of a million different religions, right? Like there's so many. Christians, I think, were probably the most prominent, but like we got a lot of Latinos moving to the West, and the West, like the Latinos are like Catholics through and fucking through.
Yes.
But I do know that there's like a separated hierarchy of Catholics where, because there was the King Henry something, where he was Catholic, and you can't divorce in Catholic religion, or you couldn't at the time, so he created his own Catholic religion where he could divorce his wives.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny.
That's how much it tells you that people are just kind of
we're just
figuring this shit out. Like, I don't think he had divine power to tell him, you should create a church where you can divorce your wife.
Actually,
so you can deal with this little baddie over here. Like, there's no fucking way.
No, I believe God was definitely there. And was like, you know what, dude? Just branch off.
Have you ever seen the God character in Family Guy?
Yes, he's my favorite.
Sometimes I'm like, do you think...
I like the idea of like God kind of just being like a dude.
Yeah.
Like, he's just, like, almost like he's, like, funny about it. Like a stoner. You know?
Yeah.
Where he's just, like, fucking with you. You're in on the joke, too. You don't know it yet, but you are.
That's a really humble way. Like, that's a really sweet way to put it.
Right?
Like, you're in on the joke. You just feel like you're not.
Right. And, like, once you die, you're like, you got me.
Nice.
Yeah,
that really fucking sucked. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks for killing my whole family in that fire. But you know what? I get
learned
it now.
some lessons. Yeah. I learned to be a better person. I got you. What's up?
Like, that's very much how I see it.
Yeah,
I
honestly.
just, like, there's no way it's, like, that serious.
My dad will send me this meme sometimes, and it's a repetitive meme, and it says, people say that the universe, or like God, whatever you believe in, it doesn't really matter, but God only sends you experiences that you can handle. Apparently God thinks I'm a badass motherfucker, and I think that is the funniest fucking shit. It's like, oh, okay, and another one. Oh, okay, apparently I'm badass. I don't fucking feel like it right now, but okay, great.
You're like,
awesome.
thank you
so much.
Yeah, keep giving up to me.
Or he sent me this one recently. In Japanese culture, there's this form of art where, like, if you break a bowl or like a vase or something, they would take gold and they would fuse it back together, and so the vase or the plate or whatever would become like a new defined piece of art, because now there's like veins where the cracks were, but they're filled with gold.
Yeah.
And
that's beautiful.
It's like a way of like rebirth, and you break something, you build it back up, and it's a metaphor for life.
And it has its own beauty in its new form.
Yeah. My dad sent me that, and then below the meme there was a picture of somebody in a show, and he's covered in gold. It means that you broke and came back together so much that you're just gold.
You're just gold now.
There's no more plate or bowl to be had. It's literally you're fused together as gold.
Stay golden, pony boy.
Yeah, quite literally. This is how I wanted to end the episode, and that is I wanted to talk about this analysis that ChatGPT gave about the boomers, because I actually think it's the most like uncut, fucking straight to the fucking jugular response, but in the best kind of way. So this is how it starts. I'm just going to start reading this conversation back and forth between ChatGPT and this person. So they say, and this is from Simplified Social.
Hi, Simplified
Actually,
Social.
No, it's not.
Okay, never
maybe.
Mind. Goodbye.
Maybe it is. Anyways, this is where I found this video. So this is how it starts. Okay, now that we know the millennials aren't being dramatic and we were really set up for failure day one, I want you to really analyze the boomer generation, because all us millennials are tired of their gaslighting.
Period.
We need honesty about the boomers. Give it to me raw, honest, unhinged, babe. Give it to me raw is absolutely fucking crazy.
Raw.
So ChatGPT said, lock the fuck up, babe. Said, you want raw truth about the boomer generation? Buckle up, because it's time to torch the gaslighting once and for all.
Damn.
The boomer break down how they got the bag and then blamed us for the smoke.
I love that. ChatGPT is getting poetic.
They were born into the golden cheat code.
Damn.
Boomers came into adulthood at a time when college cost the same as a used bicycle.
Damn.
A single income could buy a house, raise a family, and afford a vacation.
Damn.
Jobs were stable, pensions were real, and the job market was desperate for workers. They benefited from thriving a post-war economy,
Yep.
rode the wave of expansion, and stacked assets while everything was on easy mode. And then they turned around and called us lazy.
Mm-hmm.
They broke the ladder behind them, voted for policies that stripped funding from education, deregulated the housing market, gutted unions, shoved everyone into student debt, helped corporations get richer while workers got poorer, let healthcare become a profit-driven nightmare. And now they have the audacity to ask why we're not buying houses at 25. You burned the bridge and sold tolls to cross the river, Frank.
Shout out to Frank, you fucking
Not
suck.
Frank. They got financially fat and morally fragile. Boomers hoarded wealth, inflated property values, and then blamed the next generation for not working hard enough.
Period.
They said, just work your way up. I
No.
bought my house at $40,000. Why are you still renting? Sir, your mortgage payment was $200. Ours is the GDP of a small nation.
Yes.
They got rich and then demonized every single generation that followed for not being able to do the same with none of the same advantages.
Period.
They mistook survival for success. Boomers associated working 40 years at one job with honor. They think burnout is noble. They think asking for mental health support is a weakness. They think financial struggle is a character flaw, not a broken system. They worshipped hustled culture and called it the American dream.
Period.
It was actually the American delusion.
Damn.
They invented the problems they hate us for. Boomers complain we're on our phones too much, but you made the tech. They say we're entitled, but we're the ones raising kids, freelancing, caregiving for them, and trying to afford groceries without crying. They say we want handouts. Nah, babe. We want a livable fucking planet.
Did ChatGPT say nah, babe?
Yeah.
I love that.
Which, by the way, they're also leaving on fire.
Damn.
Final verdict. Boomers did not just drop the ball. They spiked it into the earth, lit it on fire, and handed it to us and said we should be grateful.
Period.
And now we're the generation unlearning their trauma, rebuilding their broken systems, and trying to create freedom with $6 in our bank account on a Wi-Fi connection. So no, we're not dramatic. We're done being gaslit. We're tired of being broke, tired, overworked, and blamed for it. Boomers lived the dream. Millennials inherited the debt. We're not going out quietly.
Honestly, ChatGPT ate. She
Yeah.
left no crumbs
Yeah.
with that one.
Yeah.
She said, gobble, gobble, motherfucker, it's Thanksgiving. What are you thankful for? Not boomers.
Quite literally. And now the boomers have the audacity to stay in the workforce because they're getting older and they're healthier for longer, and we can't find jobs.
Go, retire. Go home. Retire. Stop it. No, you don't know how to use Excel. Go home. Stop it. Retire.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Please. You're not as valuable as you think you are. Retire. Oh, you can't? Weird. Whose economy set that up? Yours, bitch. Fuck you. Sorry, that was very personal. Oh my God.
It's very interesting to see. And I think this kind of concept of like, you have to follow in our shoes. And I think there's something really interesting about like, we're trying to heal from your generational trauma that I find super interesting because I think it's fucking true. You handed us a pile of shit and asked us to just carry on. And we said, why don't we just deal with the shit and then carry on? And they said, but that's not how the system works. And we said, well, fuck the motherfucking system because that's not our system anymore. And so there's this kind of clashing now between like, I don't even think the boomers understand the Gen Zers and like,
They don't know what Facebook really means.
they don't understand the millennials like quite literally at all. So they don't even touch them. They don't even look at them because they speak two different languages, right?
Yes.
You can't ask somebody to pop a gritty to a boomer because they don't even know what the fuck you're saying
They're
anymore.
like, you want grilled cheese?
You want grits? What do you want? So, but the millennials are entering into this space now where I feel like there are unspoken expectations of where your life should be. And I don't believe it's strictly coming from our parents' generation. I think it's coming from our grandparents' generation of this idea of like, you should already be here. Why aren't you here? I got married at 18. Why are you still dating at 30? Because people are socially not as adequate. People don't talk to people in person anymore. Online dating is now a legitimate thing. Like that is where you find your counterpart. So everything's changed. It's, you're not meeting your wife at a fucking World War II wrap-up party.
That's where I met my boyfriend. That's crazy though. a World War II wrap-up party.
I
was there.
We were doing the jive.
I was hitting the stanky leg.
So things are changing, and this idea too of like, I hear this so much where I have a lot of friends who are choosing not to have children because it's not financially smart. They're like, I would rather be married with no children and be above water than be underwater and have 2 children. And 2 children is like minimum for what our grandparents expect. They're like, you're only having 2 children. You guys you guys popped out 5 because it was easy. Now our world is over the fuck populated. We don't need more people.
No. And to go back to that like women experience that you were kind of talking about earlier, especially as women who are not only like now kind of entering the workforce and like they have more opportunities to like do whatever they want to do, but the women who are also choosing to have children are now not only working full time but also being a mother full time and
being blamed for not doing enough or not feeling like they're inadequate or competing with other mothers for feeling that
they're a single mother. They don't have like resources easily available that are effective in like actually helping them stay afloat. Mm-hmm. You know, like I know single mothers who have multiple children who were living in 1 bedroom like not even apartments, bachelor suites with multiple children because that's just what they could afford at that time because rent is so stupid. Like $400, even $1,000 for rent would be easier. That's not, but that's like if you're renting a shed.
That's not even.
You're renting an outhouse.
Yeah, rent right now is like $2,000 to $3,000 a month.
And mortgages are less than that, but nobody can save enough for a down payment for a house because just everything else is so much more expensive. Like cars, even because we don't have good transportation in Canada. Public transportation's garbage. It's dog shit. You have to have a car if you want to get anywhere, like especially work. And then work usually fucks you over because they ask you to work more, but doesn't pay you to like compensate for that. Like teachers especially do not get paid what they should be. And they're so understaffed and they have no help. You have 1 person for 36 kids. Most of them have ADHD. Yeah. Like, good fucking luck.
And then you get shit on by your boomer boss because you're setting boundaries for yourself.
Right? Because they don't have it in the budget for you to, like, get extra help or extra supplies.
I'm not speaking personally from that. I will say, like, my boss is a millennial. She's of the millennial generation, and she is amazing. Like, there's something about working for a millennial boss, and I've worked for a few where they just fucking get it. They just get it. They don't ask questions. There's a level of empathy that I think is missing. But I've also worked for boomer bosses who are like, why aren't you doing more? Why is this even up for discussion? Because it's up for fucking discussion.
Because I said so.
But you have these interactions and it's like, boomers are like, why are the millennials so mad at us? Because you started it. You fucking started it. And now you're asking us to take care of you because you're getting too old?
Have fun in that home, bitch.
Have fun using your, like, and again, like, I love my grandparents, and I feel like I don't experience this with my grandparents, but I've seen so many boomers, just in general, have these experiences where they're like, well, why isn't it just the way it is? And it's because that's not the fucking social climate anymore. Things are different. Things have changed. Women are having babies later in life.
Yes. We're like...
You have to either choose your career or your children. You either have to choose to forfeit growing in one of them. And you're never going to choose your job over your children. It's just never going to fucking happen. And so they're trying to use innovative ways. And then when they use innovative ways that aren't of the normal freelancing, fucking content creation, like any of that shit, then you're judged by the boomers because you're not doing it the way that you were supposed to. You're making a mistake when you try to do it on your own. That 401k, why don't you just work for that corporate company? Why? Because it doesn't fucking work anymore.
No, and I think that's very much it. I don't strictly blame the boomers. I blame basically everyone that came before Gen Y. Gen Y being like the generation before the millennials. They kind of get it. I don't know. They're somewhere up there. But essentially, like, we are breaking tradition. Just being in a diverse society already breaks tradition because you're essentially sharing your culture and, like, mixing cultures together to make new culture, and people hate that.
Yeah.
Hate it because they just gatekeep everything that they have because it's part of their identity, and I get it, but that's just not how diversity is going to work out. Sorry, everybody. And I think that now with social media and technology growing as fast as it is, and how we are socially progressing as people, and, like, you know, equality, not just for gender, but for genders, actually, but, like, for race, racial culture identity, ethnic identity, like there's room for so much more people and so much more ideas and so much more like views on like what people are, what does it mean to be a society, and older generations are just having a really hard time keeping up with that. But they like that's not our problem.
But they're still making a lot of the vast decisions that impact the greater group.
And that's the problem. They need to die off. Sorry, but you shouldn't be in a leader position anymore. Like you're not a leader. You're too skewed. I usually respect people who are older because they have the experiences and they like understand life in a way that like us people who are younger just don't, because they've lived it. But I just feel like the boomer generation is just so far skewed. They lost their leadership card. It's just, sorry,
they're out of touch.
Yeah, you're too out of touch. You don't understand our reality as well as like cyber reality, which is just as part as our reality now as ever. So you do have to understand it. You need to know what fuck Facebook is.
Or AI.
You need to understand.
You can't resist the process of it. You have to be willing to like,
you have to adapt.
Mold with it. You have to adapt with it because it's becoming a prominent thing within like how we function day to day.
For sure. And like there's that 100 men versus one gorilla debate. The 100 men would win, first of all. They wouldn't win easily, but they would win. Yeah. As 100 men. But like the reason that humans are here and like we become what we are is because we're so adaptable and we're smart. Really, we are very smart mammals. Yeah. And we've adapted to different climates, different cultures, different environments. That's why we're here. You have to just keep adapting. You can't just dig your heel into the ground and say tradition is tradition, because it's not. Sorry. Tradition does come from something, but it can also be changed, and that's okay.
And I think you have to keep in mind too that like boomers came from a generation where they only had like a handful of like general societal world impact changes. Millennials integrated into a change, right? Like the Gen Z after us, they were born into a generation of technology. We adapted within that. So we saw a world where VHS and Blockbuster was the go-to for a form of entertainment. And now we're living in a world where we have adapted to content creation and YouTube and streaming services. And Blockbuster is no longer the thing. We went from having a fucking wind up internet computer to now being able to pull out a MacBook out of nowhere and connect to a Wi-Fi connection.
While you're scrolling through Twitter on your phone and then like playing Animal Crossing on your Switch. Yeah. Like we were asked
to hide our emotions when we were kids and not be overly emotional, because then we would be seen as homosexual or be seen as sensitive or whatever, to going into a place where now it's okay to just be who the fuck you are. Yeah. And so I think our generation, and I know every generation has the pros and cons, and millennials have their own pros and cons. We also came from a generation that I think our previous generation, there was more of a known integration of helicopter parenting, and millennials have learned, I think, to like let go of the reins a little bit. But at the same time, also be fearful because of how the world is changing. They don't want their kids exposed to those changes. And so we've had to be in the middle the entire fucking time. We've had to learn how to juggle while hopping and patting our head and rubbing our tummy. And like, we're just done doing it.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. We're very much like a foot in both worlds, because the boomers raised us. I mean, we didn't have technology in our households till we were probably like 12 years old, I would say.
You maybe were the older sibling if you were a millennial, or you started that. If let's say there's 3 of you, you're all millennials, well, somebody had to start the bandwagon of what expectations fell into. So now you're trying to either carry those expectations from your older sibling, or you're putting them down and going, it's not going to be me. And so again, you're breaking norms. We're constantly breaking norms, I think, in the way that we're growing up, in the way that it's been even when we were in high school. Like, things are different. Like, my brothers are 10, 11 years younger than me. And I've had the conversation with my parents where they say it's different now. Yes. Raising you 10 years ago was different than raising them 10 years now. in 10 years. And 10 years in your mind seems like a long time, but at the same time, 10 years is nothing.
In the grand scheme of humanity, that's literally nothing. And
but
yet
for the
so
fact
much.
that so much has changed, so much has evolved, means that we've constantly had to have one foot on either side of the world. And now we're getting to this point where we're just tired of appeasing people around that. And you're either going to accept it or you're not going to. And we just don't fucking care anymore. And now we're being called lazy because of it. I love this. There was like this trend going around where it was like proving that my grandpa has ADHD, proving that my grandmother has OCD, all these like mental health things where the grandparents were like, no, I'm just me. Like I've always just had this funny quirk.
Yeah.
No, dude, that's mental health. That's called ADHD. And guess
you
what?
have insanity.
Yeah. So it's like it always existed. No one ever talked about it, right? So like we have to get ahead of it. We have to stop pretending like it doesn't exist, because that just does not work. It just doesn't work. We've seen it not work. So millennials are trying to rewrite the script now that they weren't even like, here's the steps of how to do it. Now walk the path and you'll get the same outcome. We got that. We walked the path and nothing worked out the way we wanted. We got no outcome because of it. So, I guess we're going to have to rewrite the fucking script then, because this is not how this works. And then we rewrite the script and they go, but what are you doing? You're rewriting the script. You're not supposed to rewrite the script. This is your instructional manual. Why are you rewriting the manual? And it's like, because the manual does no longer apply to where we are in our situation. And then we're being called lazy because we're rewriting the manual to be easier for us instead of the hard path that was walked in the previous manual. Guess the fuck what? It doesn't matter. Your manual doesn't apply anymore. So instead of calling us lazy, maybe try to provide us with some insight that maybe can help us just get us a foot ahead. But you don't know what the foot ahead looks like anymore because it doesn't apply. Your 20-year-old self was different than what somebody in this world right now is experiencing at 20 years old. And not even like person to person, fucking generation to generation. And so I think as a whole, we have to give ourselves a little bit of grace. As millennials, I think it's fair to give yourself a bit of grace. I think it's okay to just not be fucking okay. And anyone who shits on you for not having your shit together is either a fucking liar, because they also don't, or they're delusional. And then just let them live in their own sense of delusion, because maybe that's where they want to be. But guess what? You're 70, 80 years old, you're out of touch. Just enjoy your retirement. You don't have to steer the ship anymore. Just let us steer the ship and either sit back and watch or jump ship and live your own life. Like, I don't really care at this point, but you don't get to make the choices anymore. It's too late.
It is too late.
And you're far too old to make those choices. And that is why I believe we've seen like such older presidencies, such older governments, is because they're trying to hold on to what was, and guess what? It just isn't that way anymore. And
it's cracking.
Of course it's cracking. The system was never built to last as long as it has. And so this idea of like, we just got to keep doing it the way we're doing it, like just stick to like what we know, status quo. Guess what? Status quo is, it's a mirage. It's always been a mirage, but you had enough people at a certain period of time believing in the mirage that it became the reality. Guess what? It's not the fucking reality. And right now it hasn't been for like 20 years.
And we're not going to know what like it means to have a status quo really ever. I don't think it just doesn't exist.
I don't know if we'll ever have that again.
No.
People are far too versatile now. There's too many platforms for people's uniqueness to be exposed now. And exposed, I mean in a positive manner, not in a negative manner, but sometimes in a negative manner. There's too many opportunities. Like, people are like, there's so much bad happening in the world right now. Yeah, it kind of happened like that 20 years ago too, but your only form of news was the TV, and they got to choose what they told you. Now you have TikTok, you have Instagram, you have Facebook, you have YouTube, you have all these different platforms that are telling their own individual stories of what's happening in their countries, in their forms of government, in their forms of poverty, and you're seeing all of that, and you're like, the internet's a horrible place. Yeah, because that was all happening before, you just didn't get to fucking see it. And the things that are going to go viral are often the bad things. So that's why it seems like it's as bad as it is. But to be honest, it really was that bad before too. You just didn't see it. The thing I like about millennials, and I've always respected about our generation, is we are so used to the shitstorm.
Yes.
That nothing phases us anymore.
I think that's a problem.
That we are so, but it means that we are resilient. We are a resilient generation. We've been able to deal with whatever crisis comes into play. It could be small, minor, whatever. We grew up in a period of time when there was like, at least in Canada, it was recessions. People were getting laid off. Our parents were going through that.
Yeah.
We saw that as a child. Whereas our parents' generation was growing up in the boomers' generation and everything was okay. You know, you had 5 siblings and everybody went to school and had full lunches and
Beautiful
all did
houses.
sports and beautiful houses and all that. Your mom was the head of a committee and that was just how it was. Like all these things. Whereas now it's changing. We got to see our parents like struggle. And I think because we got to see our parents struggle, we learned that struggle is real and that it's okay. And so when it happens to us, we're like, just add it to the fucking list. Like you can't sit and hum and haw about it. You just got to keep going. And so this adaptability, this resilience that comes from this generation in particular, I think is one of the greatest things that we got out of this was that we would just continue to be resilient. We don't know how to stop. We just got to keep going. And I think stick to what you feel is best for you. If you're doing it with the best intention, you're trying to make the best decisions, you're trying to be fair to everybody's experiences, I think that's the best that you can do. But you also have to learn when to just put the shit down and be willing to carry on with your life, regardless of what people have to say about your choices. If you think I'm lazy, then continue to think I'm lazy. Enjoy watching me thrive, because I'll use your opportunity to call me lazy as an opportunity to show you why I'm not. But you're going to think what you think. I can't change what boomers think about millennials, but I can change how I think about myself. And I think that I'm doing the best I fucking can, and I'm proud of what I've done.
Period.
And I think that is truly all you have to do. So I just thought it was interesting. I think ChatGPT pulled some really, because what ChatGPT does is it pulls information from the internet and it compiles it into a palatable, concise thing for us to read. So it's pulling from multiple different sources, which means it pulled from a lot of people's opinions about this. And if that was the general consensus, that means a lot of millennials feel that way.
Thank you so much for tuning in. And on that note,
You want to do the outro?
I don't know. Okay. Thank you so much for coming and going. I hope you stayed. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you find this interesting. We just kind of rambled on.
Yeah, this one was kind of like off the cuff a bit.
Yeah, but if you have any additions, if you agree, disagree, your opinion's valid, put it in the comments below. We want to know what other people think too. Mm-hmm. Maybe we're stupid and delusional. Maybe we're goddesses. Maybe we're all of the above, and maybe we're nothing. I have to say, we put out a short of me talking about how I've met really beautiful women, and Spencer was over here just thinking she was the hottest piece of cake around. And it's so funny how different social media platforms respond, because one social media platform I put it on and people were like, gross attitude from Blue, which is ironic because we were actually both wearing blue. So I was like, who's the gross attitude?
It was probably both of us. Maybe, honestly.
It's me. It's for sure me.
I live for it. But on another social media platform that I recently just checked, they thought you were 100% in your own court for it. It just depends on the person. And if you want to don't send Sarah hate. If you want to send me hate, that's fine. No, don't send anybody you have guys, millennials, we have far too much going on in our life to send fucking hate. Hurt people. Hurt your people if you feel like you gotta hurt people. But dude, seriously, if you're saying mean things, I think you have the time to do so. Nice people don't have time to be bad people. So I'm whatever, send your fucking hate. But don't send hate. Maybe touch grass. If you feel like you considered a hobby, maybe crochet. Try cross stitching. I feel like if you have time to hate on people, you should then you have time to take up a hobby. If you're hating me, just know you're also hating yourself. Ooh. And her. And me. But I don't really I hate myself enough for the post. Yeah, we already saw this earlier in the episode. It's too late. Spencer's already done it to herself. Okay. If you would like to see us again, you can find us on our socials, the Dysfunctional Duo. I don't think we have any underscores. Yeah. One of them is _ the Dysfunctional Duo. But if you look up the Dysfunctional Duo, you're most likely going to find us. So check us out on those socials. It should be YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Spotify, I believe. Correct. Okay. Yeah. And if you aren't following, consider following. Subscribe. Press that bell for notifications. Yeah, correct. I've never comment. We're curious about the community that is watching us. I want to see who's in it. And if you're not subscribed, I think more than half of the people that watch us aren't subscribed. What the fuck? You did that last week too.
Did I really?
Yeah.
I'm not original. I'm
No.
the same person and
Yeah.
repeat.
God.
It's fine.
So boring. Consider subscribing. It helps us grow. We're trying to build this platform, but also it allows us to just know if you're enjoying the content. If you're enjoying the content, you're subscribing. It means that more people are enjoying the stuff that we're putting out. If you have any ideas of topics that you want us to talk about, throw those in the comments. It's always helpful to know what people want us to chat about. So all of the above, and have an amazing week. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.